Welcome in the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. In this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. He is Santa Claus today, and we are bringing you guys the picks just a little earlier than the big man himself. And you can't teach that. Bada boom. Man of the people in the room. Grant, are you riding?
I love that intro, Tanner, and because of it, I'm riding. You got me in the spirit. You got me pumped up. You got me feeling good. I'm ready. I'm ready to talk about some NFL this weekend.
I think I could be a rapper. I think I could be the next Eminem or
I've never thought
G-Eazy.
anything less.
Eminem, G-Eazy, Jack Harlow. You're looking at the next Big Diddy T right over here.
Big Diddy T.
Big Diddy T.
There's
Came
no
up with that
way.
rap on the spot.
We got to retire that. You cannot bring that back out. Don't ever say that again.
Well, anyways, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel to see Big Diddy T and G Money Grant Mitchell, you better do it right now. Comment who you're taking, like, share, subscribe. We have Christmas Eve football. We have Christmas Day football. We're not talking Christmas Day, that's Monday, but we have Saturday football, Christmas Eve football. We have a lot of Christmas football. The NFL and Roger Goodell, they've done an excellent job with the schedule.
Yeah, 100%. It's always great to see, too. I am interested to see. We might have talked about this before. I'm interested to see. Oh, I know what it was. We talked about it with the NBA on Thanksgiving. I'm interested to see how the NFL on Christmas does viewership-wise, because that's normally belonged to the NBA. I know that there are probably going to be more people that watch the NFL games because the NFL's, just draws more viewers. But I do want to see if it holds up to, I think normally the NFL gets 10 times the viewership. So I want to see how it compares to a regular Sunday.
Yeah, there's only one. I think Celtics, Lakers, probably the only game that can compare potentially, right?
Yeah, that's going to be, I mean, there are some good NBA games on Christmas, no doubt. But as far as the reach, those are the two biggest brands in basketball. So yeah, that would be the game to watch.
Definitely. Well, Grant, we each got two of the same picks today. We have one different pick. So let's start with the Saturday pick, which you are taking here. Tell me why you like this team to win.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the plunge. They burned me last week. I had them at -3.5. They only won by 3, but you know what? I trust them. I like the Cincinnati Bengals -2 at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Jake Browning has been pretty good. Jake Browning has got my respect. Ever since he's filled in, he's got 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, a QBR of 60. 50 is average. So for a rookie backup to come in the middle of the season and give you above average quarterback play in the midst of a playoff hunt, lead the team to 3 straight wins, he's done his job. And more than that, you look at some of the past results. I know that they lost to the Steelers 16-10 when they played a month ago. But even though it was a month ago, it somehow feels like a totally different version of the Steelers. The whole firing Matt Canada thing paid off for a week. They had that one game where they got 400 yards of total offense. And then the Steelers offense has just gone back to looking totally lifeless ever since. Mitchell Trubisky looks like he can't accomplish anything. I'm convinced that Stevie Wonder has better field vision than Najee Harris does. The defense, it had this bend, don't break philosophy, but that worked when they were getting turnovers and actually scoring points. The offense couldn't. They haven't been able to do that too much in the recent games. This is just a situation where, the Bengals, the running game has stepped up. The defense looks better. You're getting an offense that really just can't do anything. And if you win by a field goal, you cover. That was the difference between my pick hitting and not hitting last week, was they won by a field goal, but because it was 3.5, they didn't cover. They just got to win by 2. So they win by a field goal. They cover this line. I think they win, make it 4 in a row, and they really continue to push for the playoffs against all odds. Everyone thought they were dead when Joe Burrow went out, but I like Jake Browning to keep the boys hot.
So they kind of need to win this game, as we were saying, to look at their schedule. They have the Chiefs and the Browns to finish the year. The Browns look like they're going to get in. The Chiefs are going to get in. Not that the Chiefs have had the best wide receiver core this year. Not that the Browns have the best offense in the world, even with the resurged Joe Flacco. But those are two really good football teams. I think the Steelers, the reason they're going to beat the Steelers, culture. Mike Tomlin has almost lost this locker room for the first time in his whole career. The Steelers receivers are terrible. They don't want to block. They don't want to be there. They're sick of everything that's going on. And I think that's the biggest difference for this team. We're seeing some attitude and we're seeing some me instead of some team guys. And that's been the problem for them.
Very well put. I don't know so much if that is a Tomlin thing. I mean, he is the coach, so it is his job. I wouldn't say he's lost the locker room. I think that defense still loves him and buys in, but I think it is some of those skill position guys, not to stereotype, but normally the receivers are the divas of the team. And we've seen some of that with Deontay Johnson. We've seen some of that with George Pickens. I forget who I was listening to. Maybe it was Rex Ryan, but he was on a talk show and he basically said that, Deontay Johnson just basically quietly quitting out on the field. You've got to send the message and cut him, bench him if nothing else. But there was a game where they threw it to him. It was third and long. It was third and short and then fourth and short. Both times, back-to-back plays, they threw long balls to Deontay Johnson after he had been pouting throughout the game. And I think it was Rex Ryan basically said that's a coaching mistake. You can't reward someone for bad behavior. So to your point, very uncharacteristic for what we've seen from Mike Tomlin's regime, but it is at that point where there seems to be some dissension in the locker room.
Well, you got to make the decision. You want to move the football, or do you want to just fall flat on your face, right? Like Deontay Johnson is your most explosive wide receiver. George Pickens has been complaining this entire time because there was a time when Deontay Johnson, for a couple of games, at least when he came back, he got the ball a little more. George Pickens was just standing there. And then they don't lock in too. Like when they do get the football, they're dropping passes occasionally. They're not making plays because they're just not locked in mentally. So it hasn't been a good mix for that Steelers wide receiver room. And it starts with the quarterback, though. It starts with the inability to get them the football and keep them happy.
I'm a little bit concerned about George Pickens. I got to be honest. He's got all the talent in the world, but he's not only complaining every week, it's something new every week. And I understand that you're frustrated, but at some point you got to dial it in. And also, you can't go public with 10 different issues. That's at some point it also reflects poorly on you. So I'm interested to see how that develops.
They both got to go at the end of the season. Deontay Johnson and George Pickens. They need a whole new wide receiver room, and they honestly need to rebuild because their quarterback is not very good. If Kenny Pickett's still the guy, which he should be, they still need to rebuild because they just don't look like a really competent football team. Anyways, coming back in here to my next play, my first play, Cowboys plus 1.5, the Miami Dolphins. I don't know how I feel about this one. I like it on paper, but again, the Cowboys have a problem playing on the road and a problem beating good teams. Same thing goes for the Miami Dolphins, though. They really haven't stepped up against quality opponents. Both these teams kind of fall flat on their face in the biggest games. Last week, everyone's talking about how great Miami is because they beat up a Jets team that, quite frankly, had given up. It was like target practice, and I think even though the Dolphins move the football on the Jets defense, it's what we've talked about, right? It's like, we're not moving the football. What are we even playing for? Like, what are we here for? We're just getting dominated. So I think we're going to see them kind of come back to earth this week. And I think we're going to see Dallas show up after getting embarrassed by Buffalo. This is a warm weather game. It's much easier to play a road game in December in Miami than it is in Buffalo. Actually, very nice weather. And one stat that I found on coldhardfootballfacts.com, Intelligence Index measures how well teams play in situational football. The Cowboys are third and the Dolphins are 13th. Tyreek Hill probably will be on the field for this game, but at the same time, too, how healthy is he going to be? What Miami does on offense, Dallas can counter with their speed. They are a fast defense. When teams start leaning on you and run the football consistently like Buffalo did, that's when they have the issues. But if they can force Miami into passing situations throughout this game, I think they're going to be fine getting to the quarterback. It's going to be tight, but I like Dallas.
I think this has a real argument to being the most 50-50 game of the entire year. I don't think you can find a decided advantage with either team. I went into the week thinking I was going with Dallas. A few days ago, I made a pick of the Dolphins, and now I'm honestly still just back right where I started. I can't quite figure it out. We saw the Bills have lots of success running the ball against the Cowboys last week. We know that the Dolphins can run the ball with Mostert, who's got 20 touchdowns, and then Achane, who's averaging 8 yards a carry. But a lot of their running game is set up by the explosiveness of the offense. Well, if Tyreek's out there, everything should be good. But then we don't know if he's healthy, and Tua doesn't play well when he's not. But Tua also played well without Tyreek for the first time all season last week. And you've got all these things going back and forth. Dak was the hottest player in the league until he was pretty terrible. And it's just a lot to try to dissect. Neither team has been good against winning teams. This is almost like the fraud bowl, the fraud off, figuring out which one of these teams is for real against tough teams and which one of them is not. In my head, like I said, it's just 50-50. The last thing I thought of was Dolphins with the points, or the point, basically a pick 'em, but I really don't know, Tanner. I would avoid this one personally. I'm just excited to watch it.
Yeah, but I got to give the people a pick in the game that they want to see. I mean, I'm a man of the people.
Respect it. I respect it. I understand.
Also, too, before we move into our next 2 games, Tyreek Hill has had 3 children with 3 different women this year and just got married last week. So shout out to him. He's really making moves. He has 7 children.
Yeah, I mean, you're messy for bringing that up on the podcast. You should have just let him live.
I did a story on WSN yesterday on a YouTube short, and congratulations, Tyreek. 3 with
in his defense, it's probably easier to meet women in Miami than it is in Kansas City.
Well, 3 of them are 3. I think this year have actually filed for not alimony, child support. So he's getting after it.
Well, I mean, he's got it. You know, he's got the
money.
He's not worried about that.
Congratulations, he's got the money.
He still lives in the house with his mom. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. He play Fortnite with all the kids. He's got a big,
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I've heard him say like his mom makes him breakfast every morning. I mean, I'm sure they live in different wings of a mansion, but I'm pretty sure they live in the same house.
That's good for him. I just wanted to bring it up. Like, congratulations, Tyreek.
Yeah, I you know what? Congratulations. It'll be enjoy the expanded Christmas bill with all those presents you got to buy now.
I mean,
all right. So the reason we start with those games is because, one of them was Saturday. We wanted to get that done time-wise, but Tanner and I are actually taking 2 of the same picks, and I wanted to come on the show and make a whole ordeal about how I was picking both of Tanner's teams. I was taking the Bucs and I was taking the Patriots, and we're going in pre-production. And he says, "Hey, so I like the Buccaneers and I like the Patriots this week." So you know what? We're just going to come at this from all angles. We're going to really break it down. Let's start with the Bucs versus the Jags. Trevor Lawrence might play. He might not play. He's in the concussion protocol, and he's got that ankle problem from a few weeks ago. Didn't practice on Thursday. We're recording this on Friday morning. We'll know more soon enough. But Tanner, I want to raise this question to you. Are we certain that Trevor Lawrence is the best quarterback in Florida? No. Are we 100% certain that and I've come a long way on this, because at the start of the year when we were doing our division previews, I told you I wasn't in on Baker. He's really surprised me. And, obviously if I'm building a franchise, sure, I'm taking Lawrence first. But Baker's been maybe one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the league this year. Just had a perfect passer rating last weekend. If you're asking me who can I depend on to give me a better game this Sunday, the answer just might be Baker Mayfield.
If the Buccaneers don't sign him to a long-term contract, I would be shocked, like a 4-year deal. If they don't, I hope the Patriots do, because he's that good. I mean, Grant, he's packaged. He's that guy. That's a guy that you want to have the football with the game on the line. Like, he's a gamer. He's going to do some stupid things occasionally, but when he's in a rhythm, like, he is a competitor. And that's what I love about Baker Mayfield. And that's the reason to take him in this game. I like Trevor Lawrence a lot. I do. Last week, he was skipping the football because he was concussed. Nobody realized that. Like, he was really messed up. Apparently, it was like, I was listening to NFL radio the other day. It was like self-reported by the referees or something. Like, the referees went out and said, like, hey, this guy's concussed. He cannot play, or something like that after the game. So I like Baker a lot. I think Baker has been fantastic this season. Higher passer rating than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Jalen Hurts. Not surprised with Jalen Hurts. He just literally throws the ball to the other team. But Baker's been clutch.
Yeah, and that defense in Tampa Bay, top 10 in points allowed. Really, if you want to look at it, the Jaguars, their defense is kind of, I don't want to say it's been the reason they've won all these games this season, but it's been just as much of the reason as the offense has, and that's not how it should be on paper. The Jags have been incredibly wasteful in the red zone. Granted, the Bucs have as well, but they've got the better defense, and they've been better late in games. So Buccaneers, even at -3, it's also wild that they are -3 against the Jags, but even at -3, we both like them in that.
And also, too, one other stat, they are 4th in opponent touchdown percentage in the red zone. So they're getting the job done on defense in that side of the field. They're a bend but don't break unit, and they're making a push to the playoffs. And I think just them seeing the Saints lose last night is just even more motivation, because now you can literally, I don't know who would have the tiebreaker if the Bucs win on Sunday, the Saints and Bucs play next week. So the Bucs would be 1 game up on them, right?
Correct.
The Bucs hold the first game tiebreaker. So if the Saints beat them, they'd be tied again record-wise. I wonder who would hold that tiebreaker.
The Bucs have the tiebreaker in that scenario because they have a better record against the NFC.
Okay. NFC South or NFC?
It would be, let's see. Yeah, they would both be 3-2 against the NFC. That game, is that the week 17 or week 18 game?
That's week 17, 18. They're 70. Yeah, that's week 17. That's next week.
Okay, so they would have the same record, the same head-to-head record, and the same divisional record. The
So
Bucs would be ahead by conference record. They both play NFC South teams in week 18.
That's the fourth tiebreaker.
The conference is the fourth tiebreaker, but in week 18, because they both play NFC South opponents, that could be the tiebreaker as well.
Well, I don't see the Bucs losing to the Panthers. So realistically, if you're the Buccaneers, you need to go 2-1 over the next 2 games. If one of those wins comes over the Saints, you're in.
Yes, that's pretty much where it's at, barring unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to motivate Baker even more. The fact that this team was 8-1 and now they're to win the division and now they're almost in. They can host a playoff game against the potentially dog water Eagles. They're probably going to get the Cowboys, which sucks. But I feel much better going against the Eagles. Anyways, next bet, Grant.
Yeah, the last one of the show. And I don't think you know this. I'm going to be at this game. I am going to be at this game. The Patriots going to Mile High to take on the Denver Broncos. I'm going out to see my mom.
It's going to be cold.
Yeah, it's going to be cold, and it's supposed to be snowing. It's about 30 degrees snowing in Denver. Christmas Eve, it's the night game. This, in my mind, Tanner, my favorite play is the Patriots with the points, but I mean, this could end 7-3 or 10-7, 10-3, something like that. I think the under and the Patriots spread are both very strong plays here. Historically, underdogs in low total games find more success because a 7-point line in a game with a total of 35 is not the same as a 7-point line in a game with a total of 50. There's more value for every point that you're getting. So the fact that you're getting the full touchdown, the touchdown and the extra point in this game where there's not going to be many points scored, I really like it. I know the Patriots gave up 27 points last week. 7 of those were because Bailey Zappi set the Chiefs up right on the goal line. You take those out, they only are giving up 20. They're averaging like 15 points allowed to their last 6 opponents. They've been really good on that side of the ball. Bailey Zappi hasn't been amazing, but he's not turning the ball over as much as Mac Jones. The offense looks a little bit more competent, and the Broncos, coming off of a big loss to the Lions. I mean, they gave up 40-plus points. Offense didn't look great. Russell Wilson got chewed out by Sean Payton. I think the Broncos do win, and they absolutely should win. But for +7, I would be taking the Patriots there.
I hope the Broncos win. Like that's my goal. I don't want the Patriots to win. What are these wins doing for us? They're doing absolutely nothing. Do yourself a favor though. Take the Patriots +7.5 -128. You can get that on FanDuel right now. I think that extra point's pretty critical in this kind of game. Or you can live bet it as well. Because if the Broncos go down and score, you're gonna get 10.5. If they can go up 7-0, you'll get at least 10.5 for the Patriots. So that's another idea. Maybe, sprinkle the first bet and then keep a little bit to live bet in this game. But I do like the Patriots here to find a way to cover this spread. You look at Bailey Zappi, he can do a little more for you vertically down the field based on what we've seen this year. I still think Mac Jones is a half decent quarterback, but Bailey Zappi has definitely been has lit more of a fire under this offense. Also on defense, Patriots can compete with anybody. They've been very good on the defensive side of the ball all season long. The Broncos don't have the greatest offense in the world. They're going to lean on their run game. They're going to try to control clock, play action, that burns clock. And again, if the Patriots can just keep it close, they should be in a position to cover at the end of the game without having to do too much on offense. So, yep, like this play, Grant. We're in lockstep, as G Unit says.
I fully agree. Love to hear that. One thing I want to put out there, this is just a big ball play of the week. I'm not saying it's going to happen. It didn't make my picks for a reason, but guys, I feel it. I feel it somewhere deep inside of me. I don't know if it's in my stomach or maybe it's in my appendix somewhere, but I think the Houston Texans can beat the Cleveland Browns. I mean, you can get them for +2, +2.5. I think they win that game outright. I mean, Case Keenum looked all right. I'm not going to lie. Joe Flacco, while he's added verticality to the Browns offense, he's making a lot of mistakes. He's turning the ball over more than Deshaun Watson ever was, than Dorian Thompson-Robinson ever was. You could basically pencil him in for 2 to 3 interceptions every game he's out there. The Texans are opportunistic. They should have been dead. You should have killed them off last week. They found a way to win without Tank Dell, without Nico Collins, without CJ Stroud. They're going home where they're 5-2. DeMeco Ryans is the coach of the year. Stroud still has a chance to play. And if they win this game, they significantly bolster their playoff chances. Do I think there's a way he finds to sort of skirt by concussion protocol and get back on the field? I do. And the Browns only 2-4 on the road. Their defense hasn't looked the same over the last few weeks. I'm just saying, watch out for the Texans.
Yeah, it should be an interesting game. I mean, I'm trying to figure out my playoff scenario to make sure the Buffalo Bills get in. So however whatever needs to happen there, that's what I'm rooting for. I think the biggest thing, the most helpful thing in this situation would probably be the Browns to win, just so they solidify it and you knock the Houston Texans out of the picture. But honestly, too, the Browns are, if they lose, they're back to 78% to make the playoffs. So I need the Browns to win, Grant. I'm sorry.
It's all good. I'm just saying, not in my picks, but just keep an eye on it.
Well, anyways, guys, that was our week 16 edition of Ride the Line. It's crazy to think we are almost to the end of the season, but make sure you keep subscribing, liking, sharing. This is just the beginning. We'll have plenty more stuff after the season, focusing on NBA, college basketball, baseball upcoming. We got a lot to look forward to. So, Grant, take us out of here.
That's going to do it for the Friday episode of Ride the Line. Before you guys click off, make sure that you have subscribed to the channel so you never miss out when Tanner and I post. Also, get in the comments section. Let us know your favorite bets for Saturday, for Sunday, and what your favorite Christmas food is on Monday. I want to see those 3 things. Tanner and I are always in the comments section below. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time on the next episode of Ride the Line.